Good morning. It's a cold and misty morning, and it's been a while since I've actually been out with the camera. I've had a really busy autumn, but unfortunately I haven't got out with my gear as much as I would have liked. The last few days I've been thinking about going down to the local forest to do some forest photography, but looking at the forecast, I decided to come to my lake. You can probably see as I'm talking, my breath's quite cold, and it's just a grey heron that's just taken off there next to me. I decided to come to the lake simply because I suspected there would be quite a lot of mist on the lake this morning. So I'm actually just going to spend a couple of hours this morning wandering around the lake, and the plan is relatively simple. I just want to get 5 images that really represent autumn, and I'm keeping things simple. I've only got my bridge camera with me. Panasonic have provided me with a FZ2000, their new bridge camera. I've got one polarizing filter, which I'm not even sure I'm going to use, and a very lightweight tripod. I actually think that local photography can be a lot more challenging than actually some of the more, let's say, spectacular areas that you can go to, where you go to maybe mountains or dramatic lakes, open spaces where you've got big vistas. I think that when you come to your local areas, the first thing is you know that area very, very well, so it's always challenging to try to look at things in a different way and create new images with the space that you know very, very well. If you follow my channel, you would have seen that one of the first videos I put up this year was springtime photography at this specific lake. So now I've come back in autumn, and it's a very, very different scene. But even though I know the lake very, very well, trying to find a composition with these autumnal weather and these autumnal colours is actually more challenging than I thought. So yeah, I actually think it's a really good lesson in photography is to actually get out there to your local area and see if you can really use your photographic brain to create new imagery. So I've actually found a composition, and this is where it becomes very challenging as a photographer, because I can see the image that I want. However, how I'm going to actually try and get this image with my camera, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it. So yeah, it's a great challenge to have. But I've actually got a fallen down tree that's got a lot of autumnal colours and greens, and actually one of the branches is almost like a tree coming out of the tree trunk that's fallen down. So the camera I'm filming on, I'm actually going to show you that in a minute. But I think this is going to be a portrait orientation shot, and the challenge will be actually framing this because I have quite a lot of clutter in the foreground, and unfortunately I could go down to the bank, but I think the bank's quite steep. I'll actually probably get my feet wet despite having the wellies, so I'm going to avoid that today. Anyway, let's see if I can get this framed up. So this is what I'm talking about. You can actually see around about there that tree, but I've got over there another tree, over the tree here just over my shoulder. So somehow if I can get it kind of portrait orientation and use the tree trunk that's lying down as a leading line, I should be in good shape. But it's going to be a tricky shot to get. I'd actually like to get a little bit closer down to the side of the lake and actually get a little bit lower angle, but we'll see. So I've managed to frame. I'm actually really happy with the shot, and I've got the trunk as the leading line just as I wanted, and I've used these branches and these overhangs as a natural frame, again just to build context in the scene. Obviously I think it would be a much better image if I didn't have those things, but you can't fight that, you have to incorporate them. So I'm actually going to try and get another image, just going to go a little bit closer to the lake and try and get a slightly more pronounced angle of the tree trunk, and then when I get into Lightroom, see which one I like the best. Yeah, so in the end I actually did get down to the bank. The temptation was too strong actually, because the composition was a good one. And it's amazing if you just move around, you see different angles and you see the composition in a different way. So there, in my mind, that was very much a portrait orientation, but once I got to the bank and had that different angle, I was able to actually put it into a landscape orientation and get another shot, which I'm equally happy with. So yeah, about 10-15 minutes work, and I've got a good couple of images from it. A rookie error from me, the wildlife photographer. I was just saying how I know this lake really well. I forgot that there was a perch just around this corner here. Let me show you, just there. And sometimes you get herons on that perch, especially when there are not many people. Sometimes you get dog walkers and joggers come around, and so the herons never really perch. But just down there, as I was walking, I saw the herons. So this is one of the things where I was saying about keeping it simple. I actually, by the time I put my tripod down, because I wanted to take the camera out, flip it into aperture priority mode and get a shot, he sensed that I was behind him, so he flew off. But hopefully I'll catch up with him the other side. I do know where he perches on the other side, so I'll be a little bit more discreet. So this is where the local knowledge is really important. I'm just going to walk up this path here, and as I was walking I just saw a massive bird of prey fly down from the woodland that's on my left side here, and then fly just above the path. Now I'm sure again that was because he probably heard me. There was actually some joggers that came past as well. They probably disturbed him. But down this section, what I tend to do is tread very, very quietly. There's still quite a lot of noise. We get some fishermen over that side of the lake as well. But you never know. You could disturb something, so it's always important to tread carefully and just keep your eyes peeled, because you might actually get some wildlife that typically you wouldn't normally see. And then be ready with your camera. But there's another tree that's actually fallen in the lake here, and it's got some berries on it, or at least berries or seeds, I'm not quite sure which, and I really like it, but I don't know how to photograph it. Again, it's another one of those challenges. I've got access, so I can actually get down to the side of the lake here, and I can get a low angle. It's a bit boggy, but that doesn't bother me. But I'm not quite sure how I'm going to compose and how I'm going to actually capture and do justice to what I'm seeing. That's the real challenge. It's one of those where I'm attracted by it. It's a scene that appeals to me, but I'm not sure I can take a photograph that can convey that. So I'm going to give it a go, because you have to try these things. It might work, it might not, and we'll see. So let's see if I can actually get down here. It is very, very boggy, and as I mentioned, my tripod's quite lightweight, so it could be a challenge. Extend my tripod a little bit more. Strangely enough, there is a overhanging branch there, which is kind of unusual. And let's see if this actually will compose. Okay. So I've composed, but as I said, I don't really think that I'm doing the scene justice. It is really interesting. It feels much more like a winter scene than an autumnal scene. I'm going to take the image anyway. Not sure it's going to be a keeper, but we'll see. I've got some bracken here in the front, which is creating a little bit of an issue. There's an interesting tree trunk to the right there, which I've actually had to exclude, unfortunately. I would have liked to have had it in, because there's some green mosses in there which just give a little bit of colour. But overall the scene is quite dark and moody, but I'm not sure I can actually get any interest into the composition, but we'll see. I did say at the start of this walk I wanted to keep things simple and just try and get 5 images this morning. So this is the pathway down here, and again, I like the mood of this mist coming in off the lake. It's probably an image I wouldn't normally take, but I think if I put it in portrait orientation mode, it is really going to sum up, I think, the autumnal colours and the fact that this is actually an autumnal walk. So yeah, I'm going to try that image now. I've really surprised myself actually. I'm just looking at the frame that I've composed for, and yeah, it looks really, really good. I think it's a really good representative image of this area, and again, with that mist and the colours and some of the branches and the trees overhanging in portrait orientation, I think it's a solid image. And I think that's what photography is about. You've got to create things. I probably walked past here many, many times this year. Never thought about taking a photo of it, but with the elements and the weather that we have and the colour, it completely changes the scene and makes you look at things differently. So I think that's a really key lesson in photography. Just came off the path here because I really like these trees here, and the colours, and there was actually some foreground interest. And as I've got my wellies on, I thought, oh, I can walk across. It looked relatively dry, and I just wanted to if I show you, get past these trees here to get into this area, just down here, with a view to putting my tripod to be able to capture that scene there. And as I was saying earlier, part of the challenge with this type of photography is actually getting a clear view onto the scene. But anyway, a bit of drama for me. I'll show you. Don't know if you can see that. So yeah, I actually got stuck. So I started to sink. This is actually this area here, even though it looks like it's relatively stable. I went straight down and sunk into the mud, and yeah, got my feet stuck. I was lucky that I had this branch here. I was able to grab this branch and pull myself out, but yeah, gonna put myself straight into the washing machine when I get home. But another lesson learnt: always check your ground before you walk onto it, especially around lakes. This is all boggy, and yeah, even my tripod couldn't save me. Gonna have to give that a clean when I get home as well. But yeah, all fun and games. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope it inspires you to get out there, no matter what the weather, to your local nature areas, whether that be your local park, your woodland, your lake, with your camera. I certainly believe that going out to your local spots, it's good to keep your eye in with your camera, shoot regularly, and look at things in a different way. Today's video was all about doing that, just getting 4 or 5 very simple compositions from a place that I know very, very well, at a different time of year, with different weather, different colours. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, and there's lots of extra good stuff in the description. See you next time.